Throughout history, some of the world's most influential thinkers have challenged the existence of God. Philosophers, scientists, political revolutionaries. Today, questioning God is often presented as a modern, enlightened idea, but it's not. Skepticism has always existed. The real question is not who rejected God, but what happened when they did. Today on ThinkFaith Nexus, we're re-examining historical figures who challenged God's existence and the deeper questions their lives still leave unanswered. David Hume was one of the most influential skeptics of the Enlightenment. He rejected miracles, divine revelation, and traditional arguments for God. Hume argued that we should only believe what can be empirically observed. Yet his philosophy quietly undermines science itself, which relies on assumptions that cannot be proven empirically, such as the uniformity of nature. Ironically, Hume's skepticism raised a question he never solved. If reason itself cannot be justified by reason, what foundation does skepticism stand on? Friedrich Nietzsche famously declared, "God is dead." But this was not a celebration, it was a warning. Nietzsche understood something many modern atheists ignore. If God is truly dead, then objective morality dies with him. Nietzsche foresaw nihilism, moral chaos, and the rise of power-based ethics. He didn't rejoice in disbelief, he feared its consequences, and history, in many ways, proved him right. Charles Darwin did not begin as an atheist. He studied theology and initially believed in God, but over time, personal tragedy, including the death of his beloved daughter, deeply shaped his doubts. Darwin eventually described himself not as an atheist, but as an agnostic. His struggle reminds us that disbelief is often emotional and existential, not purely scientific. It's a journey of the heart as much as the mind. Karl Marx rejected God not primarily on scientific grounds, but on ideological ones. He believed religion was a tool used to control the oppressed masses. God, in Marx's view, distracted people from the real work of social revolution. Yet when Marxist systems removed God, they didn't remove oppression, they often intensified it. History shows that replacing God with the state leads not to liberation, but to new forms of tyranny. Then there was Sigmund Freud, who viewed belief in God as a psychological illusion, a projection of our deepest human needs. But Freud's theory assumed something that is itself unprovable, that all spiritual experience is reducible to psychology. Ironically, Freud's own system has been widely criticized as unscientific and unfalsifiable, the very charge he leveled against religion. These thinkers disagreed about many things, but they shared one struggle: meaning, morality, and purpose. Rejecting God did not eliminate these questions for them. In fact, it intensified them. Even those who denied God borrowed heavily from Christian moral categories, things like justice, human dignity, and equality, without being able to fully justify where those ideas came from without a divine source. The Bible never pretends that doubt doesn't exist. In fact, it acknowledges it openly. Psalm 14:1 says, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God." Now, this isn't meant as an insult, it's a diagnosis. The biblical claim is not that disbelief is unintelligent, but that rejecting God removes the ultimate foundation for meaning, morality, and truth. The Apostle Paul echoes this in his letter to the Romans. He writes that humanity often suppresses the truth, not because evidence is lacking, but because the implications of that truth are uncomfortable. They challenge our desire for total autonomy, and yet Scripture does not discourage questioning. On the contrary, it invites honest examination. In Isaiah 1:18, God says, "Come, now let us reason together." Christianity does not fear intellectual challenge. It claims that truth, when examined honestly, ultimately points back to God. History shows us that questioning God is nothing new, but it also shows us that removing God does not solve humanity's deepest problems. Meaning still demands an explanation. Morality still demands a solid grounding, and truth still demands an anchor. This is ThinkFaith Nexus, where we examine faith honestly, historically, and without fear. If you want to keep exploring these big questions with us, make sure to subscribe and keep thinking deeply. Thanks for watching.